I always give you a hard time because I probably have to say you're the sweetest person I think I've ever met in the construction industry. So
Oh.
do people take advantage of that with you, or, how do you really stand your ground when you need to? Welcome to Just a Girl in Construction. This is the podcast for hardworking construction workers who want to drop the tool belt and build the skills to move into a management position. If you're an on-site construction worker seeking a management position, then this podcast is for you. My guest today is Jenny Williams with WDS Contracting. This little Spitfire is going to show us how to be sweet and strong to be successful in construction. Her and her husband, Matt, own a successful earthwork company in Oklahoma. And today we're going to be talking about being the support system in a construction company. Hi, Jenny. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
Great. How are you, Cory?
I'm doing very good. So it's always nice to have women here in the construction space, but I'm super excited because you're also a very good friend. So I'm glad to have you here, and it should be a great conversation for us to be able to talk about a lot of things today. I'm excited for you to be here with us today and talk to us a little bit about WDS Contracting.
Thank you, Cory. I'm super excited to be here. So we haven't always been WDS Contracting. We actually started about 20 years ago as Williams Dirt Service. Matt, my husband, came home one day and just said, hey, I think we could start our own business. And so he would handle the field side. I would handle the office side. And then we were an earthwork contractor for, like I said, about 20 years. And then just recently, we transitioned over to construction management services. And so to have our name illustrate kind of that we've expanded our services, we transitioned into WDS Contracting.
So that's fantastic because that really does show the opportunity for evolution of a company. And so starting off as Williams Dirt, you guys did a lot of earthwork. And so now you're expanding into a lot of different areas. I know you work in Oklahoma, and so now you're doing construction management and the dirt work portion. But you brought up something that I really want to talk about today, and that is this opportunity of a partnership when it's also a marriage and trying to go into this space where your husband comes home and says that he has this great dream and idea to start a business. And then automatically you become a bookkeeper and a person who sends out invoices and takes care of payroll. Is that something that you had prepared yourself to do? Did you go to school to do any of that, or?
Not really, Cory. So my path to construction management probably looked a little different than a lot of people's. I'd actually tried to get in nursing school twice and failed twice. And so then I kind of had to hit the reset button, and it's like, okay, well, there was an immediate need for help in the office with Matt. And so there was a need, and then there was something I grew into. And it started off pretty minor, is kind of like what you said, is just kind of managing the books a little bit, sending it out an invoice here and there, collecting checks. And then it was something that grew into, okay, now I'm typing up proposals. And then, hey, what's this earthwork takeoff software about? And learning how to do the earthwork takeoff software, which for me was pretty fun because there's kind of an artistic aspect to it. You're elevating this 2D set of plans into a 3D model. And so you're actually getting to see it come to life. And so you're creating that. And so for me, that was pretty fun. And then from there, it transitioned to, okay, so now I know how to do these takeoffs. I have my dirt work quantities. Now let's start estimating. And so I started doing the estimating. Then started going to the pre-bid meetings, then started submitting proposals. And then from there, it's just it's taken off.
That is fantastic. And, that's so exciting because I really do see contract administration as a great stepping stone for women to be able to get into the industry and just have a general experience of all the different terminology and all of the different things that we do in the office. And it gives you that familiarity then to then move into a pathway that suits you. Yours was estimating, and so there's other opportunities for contract administration or being able to go into scheduling or construction management. But how exciting to be able to, I don't know, talk at the dinner table about a good proposal that went in.
Yeah, that's always fun. And that's kind of another thing that I think me and Matt share that's maybe a little different than a lot of other companies where there's sometimes a disconnect between the office and the field. And so, like you said, we are literally sitting at the dinner table and he's telling me, hey, you were off on your quantity, or hey, our production was more than what we thought it was going to be. And so we're able to make those adjustments in real time based on those conversations that we're having every single day.
And you tell him that it's really not your quantities off. His efficiency just needs to step up, right?
Right.
Well, I mean, this is part of the thing that can be difficult when you move from a marriage partnership into a business partnership. And I know my husband, he's a demolition contractor. And when we first started dating, his company was in a lot of trouble. And I went in and did similar to what you did and did all the bookkeeping and got everything organized. But I soon found that our strong personalities probably weren't going to be a fit for us being partners in our work relationship. But a lot of smaller companies start off this way, where a wife might be handed those office duties and trying to keep the family and the business and everything going. They just accept it, even though it might not be in their genius zone or their place where they're most comfortable or feeling successful in their own right, where I know that you've just taken this company and grown it into something really, really special. And so you definitely found your genius zone.
Thank you. I like to solve problems. I like to try to figure out solutions. I love being around people. And so I think that's kind of what has helped us is I maybe didn't know anything about construction starting out, but I got to be friends with someone who did, and then I learned how to do it. And so that's something I think that's kind of stood out for us is, maybe initially I didn't know what to do, but just kind of knowing within myself, hey, I may not know how to do it, but I'll figure it out, or I'll find somebody that can help me figure out. Luckily, I found you, Cory.
Yes. Well, I know that building that confidence sometimes is hard when you're just in a solo bubble all yourself, So like when you're just working on proposals and estimates and you're working on a job site, and a lot of times the work overwhelms us. So we don't have an opportunity to reach out beyond ourselves and find that personal growth investment. And so I am grateful to have known you as one of my students in the Construction Management Essentials program. And after you took that program is when you were able to do your company evolution and grow into construction management. And so talk to us a little bit about what that has done to change you and your opportunities.
Oh my gosh. So even this morning, I was just sitting here kind of reflecting back on the past year and a half. And I can honestly say it's changed the whole trajectory of our business. Initially, like I said, we started off just doing the earthwork. We were always the sub. And then, coming up with these construction management opportunities, and then just through LinkedIn, finding you, asking everyone for recommendations like, hey, who has good construction management courses? And then finding you and then doing your challenge, your 5-day challenge was really fun. It was like, okay, so that's what gave me the confidence to say, okay, I have some help here. And then you kind of helping me along the way, with the challenges that came up, knowing I had a support system around me was what really helped.
It's no fun doing any of this by ourselves, right? And the thing that we really found out is that you really knew more than you thought you did or had confidence in yourself doing, but it was just being able to have someone else see it and be able to show that to you in order for you guys to be able to take that and really move forward.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
So fantastic. Now, what what kind of advice would you give to other young women who are thinking about starting in this dirty, grungy, man-filled industry that we talk about?
I would say do it. I would say you're always going to feel like you're not prepared. You're always going to feel scared to do it, but do it scared. Go ahead and start now. And I think that's the best advice. That's something I wish I would have done a long time ago. Don't wait till you feel like you're ready, because you'll never be ready. Just go ahead and start now.
Yeah. And these guys are good guys, right? They're
They
easy to
are.
talk to.
Everyone is extremely respectful. Everyone is extremely helpful. And my experience has been very positive. So yeah, I would say don't let that stop you.
Well, so positive, in fact, that don't you have a young man who also works for your company?
Yes, our 17-year-old son has come to work for us, and so that's been really neat getting to watch him come along and watching him kind of absorb all this information and, get to work side by side with his dad and I. It's been very rewarding.
I can't imagine. It's almost like putting, your own succession plan in place and just making sure that you have enough children to be able to run everything when you want your legacy to
Yeah.
come forth, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and how proud, how incredibly beautiful to be able to have Matt looking down and seeing his son doing grade setting and working on everything that he did when he was a young man. And so it's just a really, really nice reward for your entire family.
Right. It's really neat. Again, those dinner table conversations of, talking about whatever challenges came up that day and how they overcome them, and watching Mason, my 17-year-old, kind of say, hey, I was struggling a little bit, but we figured it out. So that's really neat.
So tell me what really helped you get through learning about construction by not knowing. So I know that you said that you leaned on the experience of others, and having mentors is always really important when we're working through these construction projects. But did you start really understanding the processes and systems involved in construction as you started developing your estimates, and you're able to really better see that order of precedence and how you want to set up a project in order to be able to get through it, and then just kind of fill in the blanks with that construction experience?
For me, it was, you can read the book or you could take the course, but it's not actually until I got in the middle of it is when I really started to learn, and then pulling from those previous experiences of, okay, well, this is what this book said, or this is what this person said. But for me, really learning it came when I was in the middle of it. And then sometimes learning things the hard way. But yeah, getting in the middle of it, it was really, what stuck in my head.
So this reminds me of a conversation that we had, because you had a change order that came up on one of your projects when we were working in the construction management essentials cohort. And it was interesting because there was an opportunity to be able to hear different perspectives about how to approach something. And so how is strategizing or talking about things like that able to really open up your understanding and interpretation of how you want to move forward with something?
No, I think it's really important to be able to see things from other people's perspective. And sometimes it takes sitting down and talking with somebody else to kind of open that door that, hey, there might be another way to look at this. And, I might be seeing a 6, you're seeing a 9. Neither one of us is wrong. We're just seeing it different ways. And so if I can put myself in that other person's shoes and then walk them back to, hey, well, take a look at it this way, maybe. And then the light bulb goes on and they're like, okay, no, we are on the same page. Okay, we figured it out. It's not a fight anymore then. So yeah, that exact change order that I called you about was the similar situation. They were seeing it from their perspective. I was seeing it from my perspective, and we just had to walk each other to the middle and figure it out together.
I always give you a hard time because I probably have to say you're the sweetest person I think I've ever met in the construction industry. So
Oh.
do people take advantage of that with you, or, how do you really stand your ground when you need to?
So honestly, I don't feel like there's been a lot of people that have taken advantage of it. I think if anything, it kind of works the opposite way, that it's kind of almost a breath of fresh air because a lot of people in this industry are very hardened, very callous, very type A, my way or the highway. And so when someone comes at them and is like, hey, I just, how was your day going today? Would you mind taking a look at this for me? And just kind of having a different tone, it seems like it kind of gets people to want to help you more. That, hey, this person isn't just trying to get something from me; they really care about me. And so that's where I come from, is because I really do care, and I want to present that in a way that they know I'm genuine about it.
Yeah, no, that is fantastic. Um, what about working with other women? Like sometimes it can feel, for me anyways, a little bit clicky. It reminds me sometimes of high school, especially when I'm in the office. When I'm out on the job site, maybe not so much. But are you presented with that ever, and how do you approach that?
Not a whole lot. I'm pretty much in the office alone most of the time, and so I don't see a lot of that office cattiness or the water tank gossip, all that. I don't really see that. I will say that the women that are in the field with me that I see, like, we've got project managers that I know of. Catherine's a good example of that, and then Tammy, a chief estimator from another company here in Oklahoma. They're probably the most genuine people I've ever seen. They're the most hardworking people I've ever seen, and they're willing to help support in any way. And so for me, seeing that kind of different breed of woman is very inspiring because they come from a place of support and they want to help you rise with them. And so there's no cattiness. It's just, hey, we're all in this together and we're going to stick together and we're going to rock it.
That is fantastic. And, we always talk about men and their brotherhood, but when you're able to find a sisterhood like that, it is pretty impressive and amazing. And I know both of those ladies and the three of you have just been tearing it up in Oklahoma. So super excited about all of the success that you're having there. And what do you see for the future? What do you see WDS doing as far as expansion or other projects that you're working on?
So yeah, I'm in a place now that I don't want to ever go back to where we were just because I've seen how great it can be here in this place. And so I would say just continuing on the same path that we're on now. And then like you touched on, watching our sons come up through the ranks and watching them excel at this, I think that would be my dream come true. But yeah, just continuing on. We had a crazy amount of growth from last year to this year. So I think maybe just kind of taking a second to catch our breath and catching up a little bit would be nice. But yeah, if we could keep going the way we're going, that would be amazing.
And things ebb and flow, right? So sometimes things go up and down, and sometimes it's dependent on federal money that's being released. Sometimes it's dependent on the type of weather that's happening in the region that we're located. But when you're looking at that growth and how that happens, and when you grow so fast, how do you really create the employee atmosphere necessary to get the right employees in place so that you can keep having that small company feel, but being able to expand into a larger enterprise?
So that's a great question. I feel like for us, the formula has been bringing people in that have the shared mindset of we're in this together, we're a team, we're a family. And so we have a very small, tight group. And so for us, we like to kind of tease that we're a small company that acts like a big one. And so I feel like with our group, we have half the crew, but we can do twice the work with the equipment and technology that we have. And so just keeping everyone really tight knit, and then just making sure we have the shared values of, we're going to do it the right way the first time.
So you brought something up that I want to talk about and touch on, because for a small company, your integration of technology has been incredible. And so talk to us a little bit about your integration of technology. I know that even in the software that you use, you're a go-to. So people in the industry call you to ask you how to be able to use this software successfully. So tell us a little bit about how that technology has created the efficiency and productivity for your company.
So I think it's kind of twofold. There's the field side, which is the GPS machine control that we have on all the equipment. That was something about 13 years ago that we invested pretty heavy in, that Oklahoma was kind of a little bit, I think, later to the game than some of the other states, but we were one of the first ones in Oklahoma to really embrace that technology. And so I always tease Matt that he's the high-tech redneck, because he loves that. He wants to stay on the most updated version of whatever kind of machinery equipment there is and technology. And so we implemented that on all the equipment. And by doing that, we're able to say, okay, now we are only having to get this on grade once. There's no rework. We know we're right. We know we're within a tenth of a foot. And so basically it was, that improved our efficiency and our productivity and our accuracy. And then so that was the field side. And then the office side, like I touched on earlier, we had the Earthwork takeoff software. We used AgTech. And so being able to implement that, knowing what it looks like on the field side, and then kind of integrating those two together, it's kind of you've got the field side talking back and forth with the office and vice versa.
Well, you make a really great point about the different types of technology that are used. But when we're talking about construction management and organizing the administration aspects of your office, do you use any software for that? And what kind of construction management principles are you following in the expansion of your new company?
Golly, Cory, that's a tough So I think that's one thing we probably could improve on. I know a lot of contractors use Procore for all the document management and tracking. It's something that I'm familiar with, but I haven't 100% dove into that yet. So I don't know if that's a good answer for that or not.
Well, I mean, like you've already said, we all start somewhere. And so Procore is one of those construction management softwares that is most familiar to the industry. And so a lot of people use it. But let's just say that when we were in our construction management essentials, was there anything in the program that really stood out to you that you were able to implement in the construction management pathway that you've taken with your company?
So I think for me, something that and maybe that's just because it spoke to me more, was when it was talking about the soft skills. I think implementing the soft skills and then knowing that that could be used as an advantage in this field, I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because it really is that communication that needs to happen, and the opportunity to be able to communicate with all kinds of individuals. So sometimes you're talking with owners, sometimes you're talking with subcontractors, sometimes you're talking with other general contractors and engineers. And they all have different characteristics, different personalities, different ways of being able to communicate. And so in your position, not only as someone in the administration of your company, but as a company owner, how have you found the way that you use your communication skills really creating effective communication with all of these diverse individuals?
For me, it's just being down to earth. And if I don't know something, just simply saying, hey, I don't know this. Could you help walk me through that? I think that's been a big thing for us, is because I think we all know there's nothing more annoying than somebody who thinks they know everything about everything. And so if I just start off like, hey, I am not understanding this. Can you help walk me through? Can you help me understand where you're coming from, or help me understand how you're going to do this, or what your understanding is of it? Um, I think that automatically gets people off guard and then lets them know that, hey, I'm a real person too. I don't know everything. Many times I feel like the dumbest person in the room. And so if I approach it like, hey, I don't understand this, but I would like your help in learning how to do this. Could you help me do that? I think that 9 times out of 10 works really well, that they're like, hey, you know what? Sure, let me help you.
Yeah, the construction industry is not short of egos, for sure. No. It's good that you're able to penetrate all of that with just soft skills and just being able to understand that we are people and we are wanting to have empathy for one another and compassion and appreciation, but also recognize that those individuals that are in the field, they have a lot of knowledge, and it's really fun even sometimes to be patient and listen through their stories, So we may pinpoint only one or two things that we need out of the information that's provided, but it's still very useful to be able to hear the entire story of how they grew up in the construction industry. And so, Jenny, tell me, when you are promoting opportunities to show how strong women can be in the construction industry, what are some of the things that you do or that you present as a role model of being a woman in construction? So like, what kind of things do you do to promote women in construction, but you're not really promoting. It's just that you being
Mhm.
out there is showing
Mhm.
women the strength of women in construction and showing that you are a role model in the construction industry. And so
Mhm.
being invited to be on the panel and discuss being an owner of a construction. I mean, you're a co-owner with your husband, but like, you own an earthwork company. Like, most women in construction they are like a DBE of their husband's company, where they
Mhm.
do administration and if they do anything, instead of just being a
Mhm.
representative of the company. So
Right. And so that's kind of a stereotype that we kind of have to fight, is that, when we say we're women owned, it's not just on paper. And I know there's a lot of them out there that, just put their wife on paper as 51% owner and says, hey, we're women owned, but the wife has no idea about the day to day operations. And so I take a lot of pride in that. I take a lot of pride in, you know, it always cracks people up whenever they call and they're like, hey, this is so and so. I want to speak to an estimator. And I'll say in my most cheerful voice, you've got her. And then there's a pause. And they're like, no, I always want to talk to the estimator or the owner. And then, you've got her. So that always takes people by surprise. But no, I take a lot of pride in it. Um, but I think being in the trenches every day and kind of seeing the good and the bad and the ugly kind of puts me in a position where I can speak on it, where they know, okay, well, no, she's just not an owner on paper. She's in the day to day. It's usually me making the phone calls that, hey, we need to figure this out, or hey, good news, bad news, whatever. Here we are. Let's do it. So I think that is a stigma, where it's just letting people know that we're just not woman owned to be woman owned. This is something that I'm doing with my husband, and it's why we're at where we're at today.
yeah, that is really important to point out. And there's a lot of women-owned companies where the women are very participative in the company and they know exactly what's going on. But there is a stigma, like you said, of women-owned companies where the women are just a figurehead instead of actually a participant. And so thanks for explaining some of that to us and going a little bit deeper dive into what that really means to someone who's performing the work. So, shifting gears, I want to talk a little bit about how much your company does for local community, because I know that this is really important and it is a family owned company, but you really embrace and integrate yourself into the local community and being able to support what the construction industry is to others. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So we love sponsoring any kind of community event. We love our community, and so we want to help out in any way that we can. We feel like our community's been very supportive of us, and so we want to share the love. Here recently, we had the opportunity at a homecoming football game to host an event where we were able to partner with the AOGC and CL Boyd, and we were able to bring in heavy equipment simulators and have the students come run an excavator or a skid steer and just kind of get their feet wet with, hey, this might be something I think I could do as a career. And so that was really fun. And we had some equipment staged off to the side where they could get up close and personal and take their selfie with the backhoe. And so we got a big kick out of that, and it went over really, really well. And we also got to drive a piece of equipment through the homecoming parade. And so that got a lot of cheers from a lot of little kids, some big ones too. It was a big hit. But yeah, we love being part of our community. We love supporting our community. And we try to do that in any way we can.
It's just so important for the construction industry to be able to show all of the different avenues and diversity that we have and the opportunities in the industry. And then it's just not this dirty industry that people have to work hard and sweat. And, I mean, there's a lot of hard work in everything that we do, intellectually or physically. But being able to have opportunities like this to share it with our youth and the women in the community is really important. So thank you for doing that. And then you guys just recently won an award too, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am. We were the recipient of the 2024 Partner in Progress Award for the Eastern Oklahoma County Tech Center. And they were instrumental in helping us get our DBE certifications early on about 10 years ago. And they have opened up their facilities in any way that we needed, say for a kickoff meeting or a progress meeting or to host any kind of event. We've been able to count on them to help us out with that.
Well, it sounds like that you guys have really worked hard and done everything that you needed to in order to be able to create a successful expansion of your company. You've grown from Williams Dirt, a little tiny earthwork company, into the very successful WDS Contracting, construction management, and earthwork services. I'm excited to have been able to be on this journey with you and to be able to support you in that growth. I'm so excited to be able to see how your family inclusion in your legacy continues to develop an amazing future for all of you. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Cory. Thanks for having me.
So, Jen, if people want to reach out to you and really understand more about what WDS Contracting is doing, can you let us know where they can reach you?
Absolutely. So I try to be good on social media about getting any new things, any new projects that we have coming up, or if we're hiring or any new updates. So we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and then we also have our website at wdscontracting.com.